22 million people are now living under some form of tighter COVID restrictions. And once you're in a local lockdown, it's pretty hard to escape. Just ask the people of Greater Manchester, who've endured 9 weeks of tougher rules on who they can meet and where. And in that time, the number of daily cases has gone up fourfold. In Bolton, people have been making big sacrifices, at least most people.
That's been the biggest thing, is the isolation and people not being connected with. So as being part of a church, we've made a decision that with the correct guidelines and social distancing, that we're going to connect with people again and do what we can, that regardless of a lockdown, through social media, through online presence, we're going to connect with people, because being isolated is really tough. It's really tough.
I've barely seen any difference, to be honest.
All my mates are still going out and stuff, so yeah, I don't think it's worked.
Life is very difficult, it's very hard, especially for businesses. Very, very quiet. Seriously, it's very bad.
Local lockdowns have been key to the government's strategy. In the words of the Prime Minister, the whack-a-mole approach to keeping COVID infections down. But are they working? And if they're not, does the government need to change its approach? When restrictions were brought in, Greater Manchester was seeing between 100 and 150 new cases of COVID-19 each day. But in recent weeks, that number has risen sharply, reaching 826 just 10 days ago. And that trend can also be seen at a more local level. These are just 4 of the areas in Greater Manchester under local restrictions. In all of them, the number of infections per 100,000 people has increased since the tighter rules were imposed. Now, some of this rise is down to increased testing of the local population, but not all. Across those same 4 areas, the proportion of coronavirus tests returning a positive result has also gone up, suggesting that the increased spread of COVID-19 is genuine.
It's been a really tough time, to be honest, and I think people are, if I'm being frank, fed up with the situation. It's because they're so complex. Hard to understand, and sometimes there's the conflict with national rules. So, for instance, the rule of 6 doesn't apply in the same way to areas with local restrictions on gathering in homes or in public venues. So it's the confusion that they create and kind of the ongoing nature of them. Once you're in, you never seem to be able to escape from them. It's like the Hotel California syndrome. You check in and you can never leave. And I think people are, have become quite fed up and are asking, what difference are they actually making?
That's a key question, isn't it? It does feel as if, what's the exit strategy? Is there any way of getting out of these lockdowns? And if you look at the infection rates in Greater Manchester, it's pretty depressing. They're still going up. Why do you think that is?
Well, I go back to when national lockdown was lifted. I said it then and I say it now. It was lifted too early for the north of England. The cases were much higher here than they were in London at the time, and I think it was a decision to lift lockdown, which was mainly made with London in mind, and we've struggled ever since then. In terms of what we do from here, I think if we're being fair, the restrictions had an impact initially in that they dampened the increase in cases and helped us begin to bring them back down. But I would say their effectiveness has been limited and diminishes the longer that they are in. In terms of the exit strategy, well, I've got a simple one for the government. Local restrictions should come with local control of the test and trace system, because that still isn't working for Greater Manchester. If you put that under local control, at least our own destiny would be in our hands, and we then could work to bring the levels of the spread of the virus down in our boroughs, and we'd have an incentive to be able to get ourselves out of these restrictions. At the moment, it feels that we're a little powerless, Sophie. We're under these restrictions and we don't have as much agency as we need to try and lift them.
You were talking about how you think the restrictions did have a positive impact driving down case numbers at the beginning, but that's faded off. Is that because people are simply no longer sticking to the rules? What's your data on compliance?
No, it's pretty high. I mean, there are always going to be some people who don't comply, but it was clearly the case in the early days that people did follow the restrictions. And as I say, the case numbers came down. What then happened, though, was a move by the government working with some of its MPs to start to create a patchwork of restrictions. So it started to ask whether boroughs should be withdrawn, and then it became very complicated, Sophie. And then we had national messages which conflicted with the local restrictions, the rule of 6 being an example, and more recently the 10 p.m. curfew that I've mentioned. So, all of this becomes really complicated.
So, frankly, people haven't been necessarily following the rules in the way that the government intended more recently. Whether or not you blame the complexity of the rules or the fact that they didn't get the buy-in or the government's messaging was wrong, is that the real reason why some of these local lockdowns have been less effective more recently?
We need a bit of a reset here so that people can clearly understand what's being asked. And the government are talking about tiers now, aren't they? Tier 1, which will be national restrictions, and then a second tier that will be the additional restrictions on top of that. That probably would help clarify things for people. But I've certainly felt this week that we've reached a bit of a tipping point with all of this. The government are really in danger of losing the public in the north of England. And actually, if they carry on imposing restrictions on the north without proper support for the businesses and the employees affected in the north, we will see a winter of levelling down and the north-south divide getting bigger. And a government that says it's committed to the opposite shouldn't even be thinking about that.
And many in the area say they found it hard to keep track of the ever-changing restrictions.
There were some people who just didn't follow it. But I think there's also a large section of people who were just confused by it and haven't been very sure what exactly it is they're supposed to be doing. So, for example, I live in Manchester. A lot of my friends live in Stockport, not necessarily that far away. But we're continually having to try and work out what it is that they can do and what it is that I can do. And they keep asking me because I'm covering it on a daily basis. And very often I can't remember or I can't work it out and I have to go back and check. Now, if that's the case for me, that gives you some sense of what it's like for the general public.
Whether it's because of the messaging, genuine confusion, or people, frankly, just not following the rules, the figures tell a pretty clear story that postcode lockdowns aren't working in the way the government hoped. The question now is, what do they do about it?